Before our eyes lies the tragic scene of America during its darkest chapter. From 1929 to 1939, an unprecedented economic collapse swept across the nation like a devastating storm. The stock market crashed uncontrollably, banks shut their doors one after another, and the once mighty economy crumbled to its knees. Millions lost their jobs, families were torn apart, and entire neighborhoods fell into a haunting silence. It wasn't just the economy that fell, culture and society were dragged into the shadows, where hope itself became a distant, almost unreachable dream. At this point, I bet many of you have already started to figure out what I'm referring to. Haven't you? Based on what I've learned while studying U.S. history, this was the Great Depression, a devastating economic downturn that lasted from 1929 to 1939. It wasn't just a financial crisis, it pushed the nation to the brink, nearly causing the collapse of the entire political and economic system. So, why did the U.S. economy fall into such a severe depression? What were the causes that dragged down the economy, politics, culture, and daily life of the American people? I know that by this point, many of you probably have a lot of questions. That's exactly why I want to invite those who haven't yet heard the full story to join me in uncovering the reasons behind this dark chapter in American history. Somehow, I feel like I'm about to travel back in time, back to the years between 1929 and 1939, when the U.S. economy collapsed. It's as if I'm reliving the fear and desperation of the 1945 famine in Vietnam. Poverty was everywhere, unemployment spread like wildfire, and daily survival became a struggle. Just thinking about it makes me feel deeply grateful to be living in a peaceful country, where I don't have to worry about food or clothing. Do any of you feel the same way? First, we need to analyze the stock market crash of 1929. The 1920s was a decade of rapid growth in almost every aspect of American life, fueled by the achievements the U.S. had gained after World War I, in my opinion. It was perhaps this overwhelming confidence in the country's progress that led people to pour their money into the stock market, driven by blind faith that it would always keep rising. On top of that, many individuals started borrowing money from banks just to buy more stocks, a risky move that only added fuel to the fire. Let's pause here, and I'll break it all down further so you can better understand exactly what went wrong and how it triggered one of the darkest economic chapters in American history. As many of you know, in 2022, the Luna coin suffered a catastrophic crash, wiping out millions of investors overnight. The main reason? An overwhelming surge in buying volume. Some investors, often referred to as whales, feared that Luna's value would not continue to rise and might actually decline. As a result, they decided to sell off massive amounts of Luna. This triggered panic across the market. People lost confidence in the crypto community and began to sell their Luna coins in a rush. The creators and founders of Luna couldn't handle the situation. They couldn't afford to sell at such a low value and then buy back at prices thousands of times higher. Because of this, Luna's value plummeted and became practically worthless overnight. To put it bluntly, in just one night, it turned into what many now call a junk coin, with zero value. That is the full explanation behind Luna's dramatic collapse. Of course, it can't truly compare to the stock market crash of 1929 in the United States, but I'm confident this is one of the clearest examples to help you understand why the U.S. stock market suddenly crashed back then. If anyone is still unsure or confused, feel free to leave a comment below the video. I'd be more than happy to help you understand it better. In this video, I've analyzed and discussed the very first cause behind the collapse of the U.S. economy during the years 1929 to 1939, the crash of the stock market. I also provided a real-life example to help everyone better understand why the stock market fell apart so suddenly. History isn't something you can just hear once and fully grasp. It takes time to absorb and truly remember. That's why I invite all of you to join me in the next video. where we'll continue breaking down the remaining causes and unfolding events of the Great Depression. Together, we'll explore, reflect, and share our perspectives on one of the darkest chapters in America's economic history. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the History of the United States YouTube channel to stay updated with new videos, and join me as we dive into and reflect on the rich and complex history of America together.